Hey, Moosey Moose. Does everything sound okay? It's been a while. Good. I was finally able to buy a new mic, so glad it is. Sounds good. Let's do it. Um, Welcome everybody. Center Tarnish here, CT. I've only played through this once, so there's probably going to be a lot of new stuff for me because, to be honest, I kind of just ran through the first time. Um, I was trying just to kind of hit the main things, and I feel like I probably missed a lot. So um, don't hesitate to, you know, call me out. Let me know if I missed something. This is, all the spoilers in the world in this one. I think at this point, people who are able and wanted to play it have probably done so by now. So me included. Um, First kind of initial reactions is, dude, this is freaking hard. It is. It's a hard DLC, but it's really fun and super rewarding. And I think the kind of knee jerk reaction, which we've seen, yeah, I'm the same. Um, which we've seen, I think, in the community is it seems like it's a total diversion from the base game lore. Um, but I think that there are breadcrumbs that lead us to the conclusion, the overall kind of vibe and story we get from the DLC, and I hope that this lore through helps me and helps anybody else out there that's confused about the story. Um, for those that are new, because there's probably going to be a bunch that are new that haven't checked out my videos yet. This channel focuses basically on human psychology. That's kind of the blueprint that we use to analyze the game. There are a ton. Miyazaki loves to use human psychology in the lore of his games and the enemy building, especially like Bloodborne. I mean, they're enemies with uh, um, parts of the brain that are the title of the enemy, dreams and nightmares and insight and all this different type of stuff. Um, I feel like Elden Ring is kind of the continuation of that on steroids. To me, the whole base game is, it's about a god or a woman who has experienced, we here on this channel, we assumed America experienced some serious trauma, which is kind of why um, her godhood and her shattering and all that kind of stuff is the way that it is and all that kind of stuff. So, and the DLC seems to further kind of validate those ideas. So, before I start, I wanted to quickly touch on a couple things. The first is understanding exactly what the shadow means in psychology. If you're really interested, I have a video on it, the Glow-Eyed Queen video. Um, so in psychology, the shadow is kind of it's our blind um, parts of our psyche. It's basically the realm of our psyche that is hidden, that is suppressed, that is unwanted, um, that we hide from the world, that we don't want to acknowledge, that it's memories or feelings or emotions that we just try to hide from the world. Actually, let me just pull something up super quick. Um, so, kind of just a quick explanation of a bunch of different definitions of the shadow in psychology are the following. Um, the shadow is conceptually the blind spot of the psyche. In short, the shadow is the self's emotional blind spot, the part of the ego does not want to acknowledge, projected as archetypes or in a metaphorical sense, image, complexes personified within the collective unconscious. The shadow is projected onto one's social environment as cognitive distortions. The shadow aspects of the self may appear in dreams and visions. Some Jungians maintain that the shadow contains, besides the personal shadow, the shadow of society, fed by the neglected and repressed collective values. Interactions with the shadow in dreams may shed light in one's state of mind, though it is frequently unreliable when subject to interpretation. Um, um, these examples refer to just two of many possible roles of the shadow that may adopt and are not general guides for interpretation. It's difficult to identify characters in dreams. All the contents are blurred and merged into one another. Contamination of unconscious contents, so that a character who seems at first to be a shadow might represent some other complex instead. The Black Sun from a book by the same name is an image that represents the struggle of the shadow. As a shadow is part of the unconscious, a method called shadow work is practiced through active imagination with dreaming. Descent into darkness, where the ego fades, the shadow personifies everything that the subject refuses to acknowledge about himself or herself, whether consciously or unconsciously, and represents a tight passage, a narrow door, whose painful constriction no one is spared. Shadow integration leads to a numinous experience. We begin to travel up through the healing spirals straight up. So that was just a lot of words to probably all of you, but essentially, the shadow is when somebody faces trauma or they don't like something about themselves or they don't like something about society, it goes into their shadow. And the shadow is this emotional or psychic blind spot that we're kind of unaware of in ourselves. And but it also drives a lot of our actions kind of unconsciously. So I wanted to start because I think one of the most confusing parts of the DLC lore is that it's like this big space of emptiness, but it's full of like major concepts. Um, like there's not a ton of enemies, but the enemies that we face are pivotal. Um, and I think one of the confusing parts is that if you don't understand the definition of the shadow on that sense, it's it's hard to get a grasp exactly of what is happening in the story. So, um, not that I'm right by any means, but that's just kind of my interpretation of things that makes sense in a lore sense to me. And I think one of the big concepts is that shadows and shadow work and kind of the way that shadow interacts with you comes a lot through your dreams or through nightmares. So if you are somebody that has experienced trauma, um, that you are going to experience nightmares that are related to that trauma. Or if you don't like something about yourself or society, or you're afraid of something, it's going to come to you in your dreams. And I think starting from that point might help people get a better understanding of exactly what's taking place in the Shadowlands, why it's failed, how it's failed, and kind of the understanding of it. Um, so before we dive in, I actually wanted to start at Mogwyn Palace. And specifically, I wanted to start. Well, let's go back actually. Um, let's go to here. Because it's interesting that let's quickly read um, the map description. So, map of Mogwyn Palace. In the lightless depths lie the grave of an ancient civilization. It is here Mog, the Lord of Blood, is building his palace to be the seat of his coming dynasty named Mogwyn, in whatever nightmares that may bring. And I think it's really important that through the lens of psychology, we understand that. I scratched my butt really quick. That shadows, shadow work, anything to do with the shadow often comes to you in dreams or nightmares. And the fact that that item description where you enter the Shadowlands talks about nightmares, and not only nightmares, but it also features, which I didn't really pay much attention to, but these guys have horns, which I never really understood why. And maybe somebody knows, but the fact that within this lightless, pick something up, kind of within this lightless, void, Mo happened to stumble upon this place of an ancient dynasty to start his own, or his ancient civilization to start his own dynasty. And these guys have horns on them, which we all know kind of is a bit loud. Okay, gotcha. Let me turn that down. To let me know how that goes. Is I thought, since now everybody kind of understands the story of America and what happened to her village and how she feels about the horn scent and horns in general, and that kind of those kinds of themes, I thought it was just, and I kind of just stumbled upon this because I was trying to get this character up and ready for this stream, and I thought, like, wow, there actually is breadcrumbs that you can only really find when the whole story comes together. So, anyways, I thought it was very poignant that the psychological definition of the shadow talks a lot about dreams and nightmares, that Mogwyn, the map of Mogwyn Palace, talks about nightmares, and that the tragedy that started America's kind of conquest was started by people with horns, and in this place where you enter the shadow is people with horns, and the ancient dynasty, we know that in the DLC there's bulls and there's all this type of imagery, especially in the Cerulean coast. So again, I think that there's a ton here just in those few item descriptions, and I honestly can't wait to see, like, yes, of course, please add your own observations, your own speculation. Yep, spoiler filled. Yeah, definitely. Do your own thing. Um, but I'm excited to see kind of going back through playing the base game all the way through the DLC to see just how many little things that are there um, that completely tell the story, because I think that there's a lot of them. And I feel like on this channel we did a decent job of America definitely went through something. Like, this is the why she is the way she is. We thought, or I thought, that it had something to do with the death of a child, um, but it was more of like an abandoned child, plus the fact of her uh, what happened to her village and all that kind of stuff. But I'm getting way too far ahead of myself, so let's uh, let's dive in.
Ah, were you guided here by kindly Mikola? I am Leda, and like you, I was guided by faith along his honorable path. Touch the withered arm, and you too will be transported to the realm of shadow where Mikola the Kind now dwells. My compatriots are there already. Like us, they have heard kindly Mikola's call. If you can find them, they are certain to lend you aid. Come now, touch the withered arm, and travel to the realm of shadow. I will not be far behind. May we meet again. Come now, I will
Let's
not
do
be
it.
far behind. May we meet again.
I'm also curious to know your guys' thoughts of if this is Mikola or like who the hell is in there. Yeah, I thought that was interesting too, Moose. I will say that my only critique of the the lore of the game is that if there's a god that can just make people do what they want to do, um, that it becomes almost impossible to accurately judge the actions of somebody, because you have no idea if that person, like Moog, like you have, obviously we find out that he was right, um, being controlled by Mikola, but like everything else becomes such a open question mark that it just seems, um, I don't want to say cheap. I don't think cheap is the right word, but it seems unanswerable, which is not a fun way to kind of go about lore hunting, um, because every if you just kind of dilute everything down to its simplest form, you could say, well, Mikola made them do it. Like, you could boil that. You could boil every single thing down to that, which is, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that. After individuation looks, there will be another DLC. What do you expect to happen there? What are you saying, Nord? You're saying that there is another DLC coming? Um, Notice that the Omen with their horns excised look like the ancestral followers, and in turn, uh, deities of the reverse spirit ashes all have the same body type, hair, and proportions. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Leda does say touch the withered arm and not touch Mikola's arm, which you'd think for sure that she would. Oh, one last thing before I dive in. So, which I think is a huge oversight on the community as a whole, especially myself. But we know that America is a Newman, and like before you even get into the game, you can revered. Yep, sorry. The description of a Newman says that um, are they live a long time, but they're seldom born. America has like 30 kids, which should already immediately be a red flag to us. Um, so I kind of just want to put that in your guys' head, because it was just something I was thinking about today. Um, I was watching Rada's stream, and like for some reason it just popped into my head. But if they're seldom born, but America has like it seems like she has an untold amount of kids because Night of the Black Knives were a ton got killed. Um, like it should immediately make us question her story, the story of Elden Ring, like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know, James. I don't know if there's like a actual if there's a number on 10 known children. Yeah, and then I don't know how many unknown children that died in the Night of the Black Knives. All right. So immediately we're struck by the veils. I think besides the Erdtree itself, which I don't know if that's how you say it, the veils are what stick out the most. And I think we all know that so Queen's Bedchamber has the same veils. Uh, right? Like it has the same exact kind of shape, color, all that kind of stuff. So again, if this is her bedchamber where she sleeps, and the thing that we are immediately, oh, jeez, okay, I'll get there. Don't worry. And the thing that we kind of are immediately focused on are the veils. To me, I just immediately associate that with sleep. Um, let's get this. There will probably be another DLC after the individuation, the union of opposite. What happened? What happened to the ego? Well, the ego gets basically rebirthed. Um, so, a big part of individuation is that you have ego death, and there's tons of symbolism with it within Godfrey's story. And not only that, but when Godfrey is dead or dying or whatever he's doing, Miquella is in a cocoon, basically being reborn. Um, so the whole entire point of individuation is that you have this newfound outlook on life of unity, of compassion, of this kind of inner state of peace and nirvana. Um, the old ego, it doesn't necessarily die, but it gets cleansed, it gets purified, and it's supposed to get purified through, I mean, in a psychological, alchemical kind of sense, it gets purified in a through water. So, water symbolism with kind of water symbolism plus an ego symbolism, which could be anything that's related to gold or a lion or anything that's kind of like this idealistic figure, represents ego death. So to me, when Godwyn gets killed, and I'm probably going to die to this guy. And then immediately water starts pouring out of his eyes. It was like, oh, that's the ego literally getting purified. So there's not anything really past individuation. Now you can go through individuation several times. How am I missing this guy? Oh boy. Wow. This guy's impossible to hit. My good gracious. Take a chill, dude. Take a chill pill. Oh, no, don't do it. My good God. I know what, I don't know if there will be a more DLC. I'm pretty sure Miyazaki said that this is it for Elden Ring. I think he's focusing on other things. How do you do? Map of the Great Site Plain. A somber plain covered in spirit graves. The spiral tower of the Hornsent lies to the northwest, and the entire expanse is marred by harrowing ravages of war. Everyone burned to cinders, burned away, put to the torch by Messmer and his lot. What did we do to deserve such a fate? We merely lived our lives. We lived in peace. That's a lie. That's a lie. I've only played this once, so you guys are going to have to kind of bear with me here, because I'm just going to kind of explore and see what happens. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I missed I bet you I missed a quarter of stuff, at least. If there's things out there that you guys know that I'm missing, just let me know. Fiery butterfly with black cinder wings. Flies in war-torn lands that have been scoured by Messmer's flame. They burn in dark and slender ribbons of fire. That's good. Does anybody know if you ever see the sun in the Shadowlands? The moon is obviously very present, but if we never see the sun and we only see the moon, that would make the kind of imagery of sleeping a whole nother kind of a whole nother level. Um, another another thing to point out here are the statues of America. All of them are missing their head, and could it be that the people that are residing in the Shadowlands post-war just hate her so much that they chopped her head off? It's possible. I think it's much more likely that they would take the whole thing down, but another possible explanation is that because the shadow is the psychic blind spot, it's something that the person is not aware of. I feel like it's possible that the removal of the head from an artistic direction is more it reflects more that it's a symbol that she is unaware of the things that are occurring here, and she's unaware of it because she is suppressing it so much. Like somebody who just went through a serious trauma, a lot of the times in an act of self-defense and preservation, they will kind of lock that memory away, layer under layer under layer, and they literally can't even remember what happened. But their actions and the way they live their lives, it still kind of has that residue on it. So when I saw this, I immediately thought, I wonder if that is the direction that they were trying to take this in. If it's meant to be that symbol of unawareness, a blind spot, which is what the psychological shadow is all about. Hey. Hi. Oh! Well, God, they hit hard. Also, notice all of the, not all of them, I shouldn't say all of them, but a majority of design, especially within armor, is very reminiscent of Malekith's. It is black with just a little bit of gold as kind of the accent. Kind of another, to me, another indication of the shadow is that it's almost all black, but it has just a tiny little bit of gold surrounding it. Weapon of the Black Knight, servants of Messmer the Impaler, great hammer of black steel with decorative embellishments in gold, blessed with an Erdtree incantation. Further holy imbuement will amplify the effect and greatly increase the armament's power. Guard counters cause a burst of power. And I think that it's significant because one thing that the game outright tells us is that Malekith is America's shadowbound beast, right? And defeated the Glowmite Queen, or at very least sealed her away. So I think anything that artistically kind of reflects his character, I think is you can draw a parallel between that and the shadow. Scattertree fragments can be found across the realm of shadow. Consume these at sites of grace to bolster your Scattertree blessing. The Scattertree blessing bolsters the recipient's abilities to deal and negate damage, but has no influence outside the realm of shadow. So, weapon used by the soldiers who serve Messmer the Impaler, a steel axe worn from use, a favorite of those who lost themselves utterly in their lord's war, capable of performing powerful charge attacks. Oh, geez. What books did I read? Um, Actually, I think they're upstairs. I can, in the next one, um, I'll bring them down with me in the next one. I think I've talked about it in one of my other videos, I think. Come on, man. No thanks. No thank you. God. Um, Another thing about the shadow from a psychological standpoint. Oh, let me read that real quick. A device of fire used by Messmer soldiers. Lingering embers bundled into a coil. Uh, the writhing snakes pursue foes. Fire was a symbol of the crusade, and even Messmer's rank and file soldiers would wield it. Another thing about the shadow, and this happens to all of us, is that if you don't acknowledge your shadow and you keep repressing it, and pretending like it doesn't exist, um, it will find its way into your life. Like there's no getting around your shadow. And in fact, the more that you suppress it and the more that you pretend like it doesn't exist and you fight against it, all those different types of things, the more and more aggressive it becomes in a sense of making itself known to your world, to like your reality. Um, so, for example, you could start having more and more nightmares. You could you could start projecting your shadow onto other people, and it can start distorting kind of the way that you see the world. You could start having panic attacks, or you could start having um, like very short fuses with people, things that are outside of your normal character, because you are just kind of shoving your emotions down further and further without really addressing them. And I think that that's a very big possibility as to what is happening with the lands between. Um, like we know that there was at one point the lands between was kind of this peaceful place of plenty and abundance and gold and everything was great. But eventually shit kind of started going sideways, and there's dragons and there's omens and misbegottens and there's deathroot and all of these things that start happening. And I believe that is one of the catalysts that set all this kind of in motion. And let me get rid of that. And why Mikula ended up doing what he did. And the shattering of the Elden Ring and all this different type of stuff. It was kind of like no matter what she did, she couldn't get away from her fears, from her trauma, from her regret, all this different type of stuff. Scadu is actually just pronounced as shadow. Oh, really? So it's straight up shadow tree. We can clearly see the sun in the ruins of Rod during. Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh. Gotcha. Okay. Thanks, James. That helps me. A record of crafting techniques of the greater potentate, who roam lands near and far, haunted by the grotesque practice of his village of birth. He stuffed great pots with all manners of things. So one of in my I think my most recent video about Mikkel and the Outer Gods, and if you're familiar with the channel, the story seems to be all about trauma and your response to it. Damn near every NPC we encounter in the base game especially seems to have encountered some sort of traumatic tragedy. Vike and his maiden, Oscar and Irina, and kind of the list just goes on and on. And their reaction to it seems to be like, it's almost like you could almost make I think Miyazaki could have made this game based off of Vike or Oscar, based off of their trauma, just like he did with Marika and hers. It's like the response, the retaliation, the vengeance. It's the aftershock that is like the story, because it's such a visceral and human story, and I kind of feel like everybody's response is a little bit different, and I believe that the endings to the game, the base game, kind of reflect how one can respond to trauma. And I'm saying this because right here, it haunted by the grotesque practice of his village at birth, he stuffed great pots with all manners of things. So is he doing that because that's what they did, and that's just the practice of their people? Is he doing that because something happened in his past that made him do that, and the kind of cascade of effects that causes down the line? I think it's just kind of an interesting, never-ending waterfall of cause and effect. Revered Spirit Ash. Revered Spirit Ash can be found across the realm of shadow. Consume the ash. Get Ash Blessing. The Revered Spirit Ash Blessings bolster both Summon Spirits and Spectral Steeds' abilities to deal. It's really interesting that they're wearing the same exact thing that Marika wears, and they have golden hair as well. Yeah, James, that's for sure. But to me, that was just like it's broken out into a bunch of different phases, right? And we'll kind of talk about it when we get to uh, the Grand Dam. But not resin, not shaped lump of resin that exuded from the roots of trees. Found near tree roots everywhere in the realm of shadow. Serves as a primitive catalyst, making it suitable for processing using sorceries, incantations, and the like. She definitely got her revenge. I know. All your resentment lingers yet. The raw stuff from which I shall surely forge a curse upon the dastard Messmer's head, upon Marika's children, each and all. Mm. Come on, man. I see you. Resin. A piece of gravestone that has started to turn into a spirit. Mainly found on the gravesite plane and places to where the dead have been brought since antiquity. Antiquity. The oldest gravestones turn into spirits and then fade away. What surprises me about Messmer actually cares about Marika despite his perception of Marika having abandoned him. He tries to help the potted people, protects his mother's village. Really? I'm trying to read, man. Come on now. Her statue and retains the seal of grace within him. Yeah. Yeah, he's a very tragic figure. And I think that, well, you're in Discord, so you kind of know what I think about about him and what he represents. Oh, oh my. So right off the bat, we're hit with death, war, these kind of horrific practices of stuffing things into pots. We get that all within kind of the first 10 minutes of the DLC. Another thing that we speculated on this channel, and kind of, I think I made my predictions for the DLC, is that I predicted that the things that we would see most, kind of the enemies and overall environment, would be what we see come to life at night within the Lands Between. So a lot of themes of death, the death birds, the Black Knights, the Knights Cavalry, the things that seem to haunt America at night, right, within the Lands Between, which is in my kind of Fear the Night video. That kind of seems to be what this entire place is kind of built upon. Everything is death related. The death birds are everywhere. It just seems like she's being haunted by these things. And they're coming to her in the Lands Between as well. Like, I'm pretty sure I did not do this last time. Which is ridiculous. It's 10 feet into the game. Whoa! Whoa! Oh, oh, oh. Awesome. Which of the demigod children is my favorite lore, design, symbolism? I don't know. Right now I'm gonna say Messmer because he's new and like it's his story to me is just very George R. R. Martin, very tragic, very human, and his design and stuff is just pretty hard to beat. Oh. God damn, that's annoying. Nope. Does this dude have unlimited poise? Holy crap. Dude. You kidding me? Oh no fucking way. Nope. Oh, thank God. I cannot believe his poise. It's insane. Holy crap. Shit. Wow. What? No. So easy to be with a bow? Are you being serious? That seems wild to me. Great Sword of Solitude. Helm of Solitude. Armor of Solitude. Blah, 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 blah. Steel Greaves of the Knight of Solitude Jail. Part of the heavy armor set that covers the whole body. The nameless mausoleums of the Realm of Shadow are said to hold the spirits of warriors who lost their names or their hearts. Nameless mausoleums of the Realm of Shadow are said to hold the spirits of warriors who lost their names or their hearts. Through a secret rite, they relinquished their hearts for heightened battle prowess. Next, they engraved their blades with two crests, one depicting the light of birth and the other solitude. Huh. Hmm. He keeps using the crossbow. Oh, nice. Okay. Easy to dodge. Yeah, for sure. Did I hit this? You can't go back here, can you? No. Nice one. Oh, shit. Oh. I'll come back for that guy. I abandoned here the first of the flesh of my body.
Fie, another, treading the heels of Nicola. Then, as that woman would surely say, we are in our purposes well aligned. But understand, your kind are not forgiven. The Erdtree is my people's enemy. By Marika long betrayed, set aflame. I believe Nicola's apologies when he says our delivery will come, but never will I see your kind as worthy. And yet my oath I cannot overlook. If Nicola it is whom you would seek, then comrade, allow me to give you this. These are the sites of the crosses I found. I urge you, follow after Nicola. As long as you abide by his footfalls, you will be no enemy to me. I urge you, as long as you abide.
Ah, Lady Leda spoke of you. You're that tarnished. Guided here by kindly Nicola. Weren't we all? I am Freya. I once fought alongside General Radahn. In battle, you can be sure I'll hold my own. Oh, another thing. Did you speak to our dour little friend?
Mm-hmm.
If you've yet to do so, have him give you a map of the cross's whereabouts. You'll find more of them dotted about these lands. They are Nicola the Kind's footprints. If you've yet to do so, assuming you would...
What is your guys' take on, like, The fact that this cross says, I abandoned here the first of the flesh of my body. Like, I wonder that's what that's supposed to mean. Like, is he, like, literally is a chunk of his skin? Like, is his liver down there or something? Or do you think it's more symbolic? So which predictions did you get right? I think it's too early to tell. I think the first, probably most obvious one is that the things that occur at night within the Lanes Between seems to be the main inhabitants of this place, which I think connects the Night of the Lands Between and what that's supposed to represent, and the Shadowlands. I think besides that, it's too early to like say that I got this right or this wrong or something like that. I would like to say that we're inhabiting like a nightmare of America's, which is why those occurrences are happening, both at night and within the Shadow Realm. But again, oh jeez Louise, are you kidding me? It's pretty early to tell, and I would say that probably the most accurate one is that America was a victim of a horrific tragedy. I didn't predict that it would be that her village got massacred and her, all of her people died. But in just a very human psychological kind of there was no explanation outside of that for America's actions and kind of why she was doing the things that she did, why the things happening within the Lands Between were happening. To me, there was only kind of one answer to that, and that was the result of tragedy. Oh boy. I don't think I've ever killed one of these things. It seems impossible. Like, is there something I'm doing wrong? Or am I just not supposed to do this yet? Because I'm doing no damage to this guy. Oh, pfft. Oh. He falls. Oh, no, he doesn't fall. God damn it. Fall down. What the hell's happening? Oh, come on now. Oh. What am I doing wrong? Oh, that sucks. Jump over the AoEs. Stagger them 3 times and they fall down. Okay. There we go. Ooh. So I have to do it 3 times again. Oh, whoa. That goes a long ways. Shit. Oh. Oh, come on. Yeah, I suck on horse. He's gonna kill me. Come on. Oh. Oh, that was really lucky. No, man, come on now. Oh! He's gotta be close. Oh, no. God dang it. I will say that the prediction of I predicted that she sacrificed a kid. Not necessarily that one died in a tragic way, but that she sacrificed one so that another one could live. And that kind of seems to be what happened with Messmer. She kind of sacrificed him, abandoned him, so that way the things in her past wouldn't get out of the shadow, basically. So can I stagger him just like that, or do I need to do heavy attacks? Oh, okay. Yep. You're right. Way easier on horse. I thought I had to do, like, heavy attacks. Go to sleep, little baby. Go to sleep. Oh, this is great. What? Dude, I was in the air. Yeah, come on now. Oh, again. We did it. We did it. It's easier to circle his feet. Yeah. Yep. Appreciate you. Deflecting hard tier furnaces. Alright. Crystal tier forms slowly over the ages, where the scattered sap of the shadow tree. Why couldn't they just say shadow tree? It's called the Shadowlands. Like, why does they? Anyways, damage negation and guard poise will be heightened in the moment immediately after assuming a guard stance. Successfully executing Spartanius guard will also strengthen. Oh, cool. A stone mask surrounded by curled horns depicting the fell god of fire that haunts the sagas of the horn scent. I don't think I did this. A young shoot heavy with Empyrean blood, said to burgeon forth from where the golden blood of Mikola, the wounded Empyrean, pooled. So I guess he is like literally hurting himself. Is that what that is? That hard tier is the Sekiro period? Like, for real? Wait, let me read that again. Damage negation and guard poise will be heightened in the moment immediately after assuming a guard stance. Successfully executing a spontaneous guard will also strengthen guard counters. Oh, yeah, I guess so. Oh, that's cool. Huh. I think I read somewhere that Miyazaki is going to focus kind of he he said that he likes the combat style of Sekiro and Bloodborne the best, and like his next game is going to be that combat style, like very fast, no shields, very like skill based. Which, if you guys haven't played those games, especially Bloodborne, you gotta get your life right. You can come over here and play it if you don't have a PlayStation. Wow, nice. Does that work whether it's a shield or if it's like legit Sekiro style with the weapon? Guess I could just test it out, huh?
Hello there. Together, we work together for Mikola the Kind. Many things we have found. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You must be the Tarnished. I am Ansvar, formerly in service to Lord Mog, but now, like you, another soul guided by kindly Mikola. I'm hardly the steady hand I once was. My fighting days are far behind me, which is why I have chosen to dedicate myself to investigation, to discern tender Mikola's ultimate purpose. I'd rather not volunteer service to a new master unless I know that I can be of use. May I request a service of you? 6 crosses, identical to this one, have been discovered in these lands. They are akin to tender Mikola's footprints, or gravestones, which mark what he's left behind. If you discover any more crosses, be certain to tell me. I presume you, too, are keen to know just what kind Mikola is doing here. If you discover any, be certain. I presume you just what.
Yeah, Moose. I don't think they'll ever get away from that. Although I guess like Sekiro didn't really have a ton of diversity in the builds. You could kind of change out your arm, but from what I remember, Sekiro was like a side project for Miyazaki, and I think it won Game of the Year or something like that. I think that they know what their fan base wants, and I don't think that they're gonna ever stray away from it. And I think it's what they enjoy as well. Where should we go? Oh, god damn, it scared the shit out of me. I guess we'll go in here. Yeah, dude. We'll start making it up if you just hook us up. We got no choice. Radahn's back in Mog's body. What do you mean we're making stuff up? But he still looks like Radon. That's one thing like I don't really understand is if it's just Radon's soul and Mog's body, well, why? Like it should look like Mog, right? This kind of reminds me of that place in Dune. I forget what like that temple's called. Oh, it's. Oh, I must not have done it right. Oh, I have to treat the fucking thing. Oh, jeez. Hmm. That bottom part looks a lot like what's behind America and all of her statues. Depicting the fell god of fire that haunts the sagas of the horns. There has to be, and maybe one of you guys know, like, is there any theories as to what or who the fell god is? I've heard the sun, but that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why would the horn scent? Why would the sun haunt the horn scent? That like I unless it's a joke. Mm. Let me read that one more time. Oh, this is different. Spirit ash of those who came before, infused with potent spirituality, acquired from the corpses of horn scent, and other objects that ritually decorate townships and villages across the realm of shadow. The withered corpses were called tutelary deities, and revered spirit ash was said to quietly accumulate in the palms of their hand. I don't know what that word means. What does tutelary mean? Tutelary? Yeah, I don't know why it looks like Radon. Like, even if it had Radon's armor, but it should still be like Mog's omen body. Yeah, James, I don't know if it's a outer god. The game is fickle about like what they name outer gods. And the fact that it has horns and a face, like, and it's a god of fire, like that to me is more physical than Hmm. Hmm. Did any of you play Demon Souls? Being or serving as a guardian or protector. Okay, so it's a guardian. Okay. So let me read that with a simpler word in there. The withered corpses are called guardian deities in guardian deities. Yeah, did any of you guys play Demon Souls? I thought for sure one of these would talk to me. Yeah, that's a good call, actually. Anything that has horns or reminds her of her past seems to like is a direct enemy. Hmm. Ooh. What are your thoughts on the abyssal serpent within Messmer? Well, I'll probably talk more about it when we get there, but um, there seems to be within like the main characters of the game this higher and lower self, um, or what I would psychologically refer to as the ego and shadow. It's like um, it's exactly that. It's like our higher self and our lower kind of unwanted self. And it seems that all the Empyreans, like anybody that has one eye closed or a sealed eye or anything like that, they seem to also have those same kinds of things. Like I think Crunchy did an excellent job of his, I think, most recent video was about like identity, and like we're not just made up of, we're not one singular being. We are made up of a bunch of complexes and different parts of our psyche and personality and all this different type of stuff. And Elden Ring seems to circle that theme definitely within the main characters of the game, even within even the Erdtree and the society of the people in the game. They have a higher and lower self. And that's kind of a very 30,000 foot view of what I think Messmer's kind of winged serpents are and his base serpent. It just seems to be more of that. Yeah, she's incredibly complex. Yep. And it's another common theme with in individuals who, obviously it happens to all of us, right? Like how I act with my 3-year-old son compared to how I act at work are two very different people. It's still me, right? But it's two different complexes. I talk differently. I present myself differently. And I think in a game, like you could have that be two separate people. Two sides of the same coin. And America seems to, yeah, be kind of the exhibit A for that. And especially people who go through some sort of childhood, especially childhood trauma, their internal world is fragmented, like in a very unparalleled way compared to those who have a quote-unquote normal upbringing. Dissociative complexes and some more serious mental illnesses, they almost all can be traced back to a childhood trauma. In fact, when the FBI was, I don't know if you guys have watched that show Mindhunter, is that what it's called? Where they come up, it's like the story of coming up with the term serial killer and creating kind of what, like, the common threads between them. They all had childhood trauma. They all had severe mental illnesses, and they all had childhood trauma that distorted their reality. which is why I think it's so important to acknowledge what happened to America here. And I really hope that the more popular, you know, content creators take it seriously, because I think it's an incredibly important part of her story that explains not only her actions but the different aspects of herself. I would say within the last 3 or 6 months, the amount of videos very similar to the ones that I make, where Melina is America or Mikola is Melina and America is everybody and blah 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 blah. Like they're all kind of rising to the surface because it's the only way to make sense of what's happening. And that those types of complexes and mental states only occur with people who experience some sort of significant trauma. Like it literally like shatters their inner world. And I think it's also important to kind of realize that who's doing that? Oh, this guy. That this is not like uncharted territories for Miyazaki. Bloodborne specifically was, in my opinion, like his first dive into heavier psychological themes. Like you see what happens if you played it. Like you see what happens to Gehrman after what he did, and you see what happens to the hunters after what they did to Koss. And like it's a very similar thread. It's a very similar kind of like the two are woven with the same threads as far as there is a very common theme of tragedy and the repercussions of that. It seems that only this time it's happening to the god of the world. And it seems that whatever happens to her gets directly reflected into the lands. So it's just taken up, you know, a notch. Mikola's Mikola was the most outlandish take at the time. Although, how badass would it have been for you to arrive to Radon only to have Torrent come out and turn into Mikola? That would be sweet. Mm-hmm. Oh, what? Ow.
My words, graceless heathen. Thou shalt not evade the flame of Messmer.
An interesting idea I heard was that the theory the grace of gold is America's attention and adoration to that particular individual or persons. America unintentionally deprives the omen misbegotten and other unwanted of grace due to. Yeah, I think that's probably pretty accurate. Again, like a big part of the shadow is that you project it onto other people, like even your kids, and you don't do it intentionally or in a kind of calloused way. It's just because of your past, certain values or certain kind of codes that you live by are just ingrained in you unless you like address them and work through them. Yeah, I think I can pretty much agree with that. That makes sense to me. Oh god, am I lost already? No, okay, good. Is there somebody behind me? No. Well, depths key? I missed that the first time. Opens the iron grating at the bottom of the well and belly rat. Huh. Don't let me forget that. I will definitely forget that. I don't know where that's at, but Yeah, I think kind of like what Moose is saying. Is it Moose or is it Mose? I think I heard Rada say Mosey Mose. Um, like I think when you fear something, um, you have a very knee-jerk reaction in a negative way to that thing without it being like an intentional thing. So like I don't know if you know somebody who's ever been attacked by a dog or anything like that, but they see a dog and like if it's running at them, they like prepare themselves for battle. Like they will kick that dog. They will like even if that dog is running at them in a playful way. Not saying that that is the case. Like I think an argument. I think equal arguments can be made in both cases. I'm just saying like it doesn't have to be the person who is kicking that dog because of what happened to them in the past doesn't necessarily want to hurt that dog. It's just a reaction to what they've experienced. Okay, so here's a well. Here's a gate. Love it. Yeah. I did not do this last time. This is interesting. Mm-hmm. Come on, bro. Let me tickle that belly. Ah. Mm. That did fuck all. Shit. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. I'm gonna keep calling you Moose, because I don't know. Till you tell me otherwise. Ceremonial accoutrement worn by Hornsent. Horns are sublime artifacts to Hornsent, and their presence confirms the belief. Only the repeated sprouting of fresh horns can create a tangled horn, which is viewed as an irreferable symbol of primacy. It's interesting that the kind of, well, shaman and animism ancestral followers are locked up with underground with the Nox, and if they're talismans and stuff remind America of the Hornsent, then I wonder if that is an explanation as to why they're down there and why the ancestral followers are also okay. Let's hit that guy, shall we? No thanks. Keep on moving. Moosey Moose, like an animal. Okay. That's what I figured, but when I heard him say that, I was like, oh shit, I'm probably calling her the wrong name. Or him. Oh, what the? Mm-mm. You got to be kidding me. Damn it. No! Thought for sure that would stagger him. God, I don't even know where I was. I think I was closer to that one, actually. Okay, here we go. I think one thing that threw everybody for a loop was the fact that those ships were actually coffins. I'm curious to hear Tarnished Archaeologist, his kind of response to that, because that was kind of one of his big things. Oh, you can't even hurt them? This is annoying. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, okay. Wow. Poisoned hand? Hmm. A glove stitched together from the flayed skin of the victims of a butcher's bloodbath. Afflicts targets with deadly poison, raises attack power when poisoning occurs in the vicinity. Forged of an unyielding black impulse towards revenge fostered in those who have had everything burned or stolen from them. These are weapons of the utterly downtrodden. God, man, everything is just so, like, tragic in this place. Butcherous bloodbath. Like you would think that they're talking about shamans, right? Because of the butcher knife description as well. So those are shaman hands. Curved sword of the horned warriors, keepers of the tower. The ornamental tangled horns allow the blade to serve as a medium for horn calling. Hmm. Don't really know what I want to do yet. Ah. Did that, right? No? Yeah, I did that. Okay. Oh, another time. Right in the face. Oh, what the? It's getting late for me. Oh, thanks, man. That's really nice of you to say. Appreciate you, Hendrik. Are you kidding me? You guys can get up freaking stairs? Oh, jeez, this is getting bad to worse. Bad to worse. Special teams. What the? What do you think of another DLC with the Gate of Divinity being the portal to a new zone? Be super interesting. Yeah, it'd be cool. It would definitely be cool. did this. Right? I did this already. Could have just taken this freaking shortcut. You guys gotta let me know when I'm doing stupid stuff like that. Thanks, phone. Yeah, man. I'm happy to do it. Actually, I think Moose, the lands above, I think is my theory on the lands between is that it sits just as you're kind of describing. Like, there seems to be this higher plane with gods and outer gods and all this stuff. And then there's the Shadow Realm, the stark contrast of it. And then where the lands between sits. Like in between these two opposites. It would be cool to... But that's like, again, like if you played Bloodborne, that's kind of what Bloodborne is. Like Bloodborne kind of centers around that, like Lovecraftian higher plane beings. The great ones and the outer gods and things like that. Oh, Jesus. Ugh. I don't think we talked about fly mold, did we? Species of fungus known for its deathly sweet stench, cultivated using the flesh and blood of man-flies, can serve as pot innards. Yeah, so these things were human beings at one point. Saw somewhere on social media that Elden Ring is getting another DLC, but I hope that's just rumor. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get another DLC. I abandoned here my arm Sinistral. Come on, just use normal words. What the hell does Sinistral mean? Left side. Okay. Why can't you just say I leave my left arm here? That's so strange to me. So far we have the first part of my flesh. I forget what that one was. Left arm. It'd be interesting to just keep in mind, like, if there's any connection between what he's divesting himself of and what we see in that area. A quaint bouquet of dried flowers offered to a small grave raises attack power when a spirit you have summoned dies. The sorrow that flows from the untimely demise of a loved one is a tenderness shared by all, regardless of birthplace. More tragedy. Like, I think I hear what you're saying as far as you want another DLC, but everybody was saying the same thing about Bloodborne. And, like, if he would have made another DLC, that means we probably would have just been getting Elden Ring at this point. You know what I mean? Like, you never want a good thing to stop flowing, but FromSoft and Miyazaki never disappoint. So whatever they come up with next is going to be even more epic and better. I mean, especially like by then it'll probably be a new console and better graphics and more shit that they can do with it. So as bittersweet as it is, like I'm actually okay if this is it for Elden Ring. Now, what would be cool from just a lore perspective is if they did some sort of like manga or just some like a kind of a short novella or something that's like doesn't need to outright tell us the story, but it would be interesting to get just a few more concrete things. But I kind of doubt that's going to happen. Like, I think if they were going to continue Elden Ring in a less time-consuming way, like, that's what I would love to see. Yeah, just put out a book. If we know mass amounts of info about the game, then the spark kind of fades with that. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but Miyazaki did say that, like, he feels like they still missed the mark on making the lore accessible. Because I think that I love the lore hunting and the depths at which like you can take it and like in so many different directions. It would be nice to have it just slightly more concrete. This doesn't seem very fair. Oh, are you freaking kidding me? Don't do it, homie. Why don't you fight each other? What the? He's flying in and out of world. Yeah, I definitely think. I think both. I think that the reason that FromSoft games seem to live on indefinitely is because there is no answer. Like that that drives lore hunters like me crazy. Um, and you'll play a game for ever trying to figure it out. Whereas if you figure it out, sure, maybe it takes you a couple years, but once you figure it out, like it's done. Um, so I kind of just wish like even now like Miyazaki would just hold like an FAQ for Bloodborne. Cuz like that's like 3 IPs ago now. So just give it to us. Not good. Not good here. What the hell? I did not know you could get over there. Which way are you supposed to go? Oh, this just takes me back to here. Wait, I've been here, right? Yeah. Yeah? Yeah, good luck. I appreciate it, Phone. Thanks, man. Good luck with the final boss. I'll be streaming these lore throughs hopefully pretty regularly. My life is complicated, so it's not it's not an everyday situation, but I'll do my best to schedule them out at least a few hours in advance and try to stay on some sort of schedule. But hope to see you around. Missing stuff. Oh no. Fuck. I really thought when we saw this character that it would be a boss. I kind of like that it's like just in the world. They remind me of the Black Knights from Dark Souls 1. They're just kind of like around. They don't really seem to have a rhyme or reason to their location, which I like. Okay, so from up there. Huh. Actually, I think I might call it a night as well. We'll start back up here hopefully tomorrow, sometime around like I'm tempted to try the final boss with the bow only. Jeez. Good luck with that, Moosey. I'm gonna wrap it up tonight. Hopefully, I can make this a regular, every day, every other day type of thing. Like I said, with family and work and stuff, it's tough to do. But super grateful that you all joined me. I hope some of this made sense to you. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Much love and take care of yourself. Peace.